This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. So yesterday I was playing around with this amplifier. This is basically a Matchless Lightning clone, but with a 6v6 power section, and I was really loving the feel of it. I've got the gain here at 8, the master at about 6. It's louder than I would play it normally, but it kind of gave that kind of juicy chewiness to it. And I thought, can I do that with the Helix? And the answer is basically not quite. And I've spent a long time looking at this and trying to sort of match EQs a little bit and trying to be a little bit scientific with it, but I'm at the end of my sort of skills with this. So I'll show you the two sounds. I won't tell you which is the amp to start with. So here's two sounds. Let me know, do you think these are close or not? And then I guess I'll just play that again for you and I'll tell you which is which. So yeah, basically I'm finding there are little differences. This is the sort of thing where, of course, the Kemper, the Tonex, or even the Neural Amp model or the Neural DSP Quad Cortex would probably get closer than this with, you know, far less work. Is the amp. What I'm finding is that basically the amp has more sizzle. and a bit softer. I think that may be part of the 6v6 thing. But I think when I know exactly what's going on, I'm finding it quite easy to tell the difference. But potentially, if I was to you know, when you put them next to each other like that, they're pretty close, right? I think, fairly. But there is something more fluffy about the real amp. So although it's, I think, fairly close, it's getting in the ballpark, I can't quite get the attack of the notes right. I think partly this is down to I'm using a matchless simulation within the Helix. Let me know if you want me to drop this tone into the folder, because I think in its own right it's a pretty good tone still. And in some circumstances I'm actually preferring it to the amp tone, and then in other circumstances I'm preferring the real amp. So at least it's kind of a good kind of experiment in some ways, I guess. But yeah, I'm finding that there's something about the real amp where I back the volume off. It's like it feels a bit softer in some ways. Yeah, and that maybe the matchless emulation, which is EL84 based, seems a bit stiffer. But in some ways it's a little bit less fizzy as well. It seems like more of the actual note is coming through in some circumstances. It's really difficult stuff. I guess this is exactly why the Kemper and the Quad Cortex and these things that can do the tone matching thing still kind of really do come into their own. And I was thinking as well, you know, I did place an order on that Kemper player, but for me it does seem a little bit pointless, given that I could go out and buy a used Kemper for maybe 50, 100 quid more than I would pay for a new Kemper player, and then I could make my own profiles of this sort of thing. So I don't know, let me know your thoughts on that. Would you like to see the Helix capable of doing this kind of tone matchy stuff? I'd like to know your thoughts on that. I think the Poly Bebo can actually run neural amp models now. Of course, Tonex, if you can work out the software, could do this sort of thing quite easily. It takes quite a long time on my computer, and the Quad Cortex takes about 5 minutes, whereas this is, even as not very close as I've got it here, has taken sort of hours of messing around and losing the will to tweak. So it's been fun, sort of, but not really. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Could you pick that one apart? Yeah, I tried with the AC15 to start off with, and that was even further away. I'm using the channel 2 of the Matchless, and that seems to be getting a little bit closer. It feels sort of character-like. I've messed around with sag, I've messed around with bias, I've moved the gain, I've got a couple of EQs in there, but I think I'm at the end of my rope with it. So I thought it would be really difficult to get this tone going in the Helix world, and it kind of was. So that's that video.